Hey guys, so first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get this out of the way before people just start typing frantically and calling me a liar and all this. This is my Tim Scruggs, okay? My Tash Gorilla has been shipped back to New York, or not back to New York, but to New York, and I'm having them replace a wrap. That is all that's going on. I still made the promise. That's my new main. I've switched and all that. It's in transit, and I hate USPS. I always did. That's what this guy wanted. Shipped it Monday to arrive Wednesday. It's Thursday now, and now they're saying it's not going to arrive until the 20th. So I call them up and say, hey, I paid extra money to get this damn thing delivered Wednesday. And they're like, fuck you, Dave. Click. That's basically what they said. Anyway, so I hate them. What I want to talk about, though, in this video, and I'm thinking it's going to be short, but I always say that, I'm trying to find a term. I've heard this term before watching probably a snooker match. Matter of fact, I know it was a snooker match probably on YouTube at one point in my life. And this is what the term was talking about. It's hard to see with my hand and stuff on the camera. It's not going to be super easy to see with this. But, you know, we'll try. So, imagine that the V of my bridge where the cue rests is this. And like I said, I'm thinking hopefully this might be a little bit easier to see and explain. So every cue shaft is going to have a taper to it. The tip end is always skinnier than this end, right? So it has to grow in size somehow. Some cues will just do what's called a straight taper. And it starts out here, and it just very evenly keeps getting wider and wider and wider and wider until it gets to here. How some cues, like some of the old McDermott's, would keep doing that until they got to this end. So it was all perfectly straight. When I was, starting to play pool, there was what was called a standard taper and a pro taper. The standard taper, it would stay the same thickness out to here, maybe about 10 inches. And so this is all exactly the same. This is a cylinder right here, perfect cylinder. And then it would start to get wider after this part. Pro taper would be about double that. So a pro taper might be exactly the same out to about here. And then it would start to get wider. My Southwest has this goofy ass parabolic taper. Not sure what they're using that term for, but it'll be a perfect cylinder. Shit, what is that, 6 inches? And then it starts doing weird shit until it gets wider. The whole point of all that was watching the snooker match. The guy was talking about how if they're not careful, and those snooker guys have to be unbelievably careful and accurate because of how big the tables are, how tight the pockets are, all that stuff. So whenever they start talking about accuracy and stuff, my ears perk up and I pay attention. What this guy was talking about was normal snooker bridge, which is open-handed. They usually use an open bridge, not a closed bridge. As my cue goes forward, when I hit the taper, then the shaft is going to start to go up a little bit because this part just got thicker. Not sure if that you can't see my tip going up, but here it would stay perfectly level. But when I hit that taper, the shaft starts getting fatter. Then the tip's just going to go up just a little bit, and this can happen with every cue, unless you, I don't know, have some stupid fiberglass thing or something where it's a perfect cylinder all the way. Or anyway, so with every cue, once you hit that taper, if the V of your bridge is straight at the bottom, the tip's going to go up. It's going to get higher and higher and higher. But what happens if that's not pointed straight down anymore? What if it's a little bit off? Now, as my cue goes forward, it's not only going to go up, it's going to go this way. If my bridge is somehow tilted the other way, maybe if I'm left-handed, that might do it. It's not only going to go up when it hits that taper, it's going to go to the left. And that's kind of what this guy was talking about in this video. And I got the impression it was like a real term, because there were like two announcers, and one guy said, well, the reason he missed that is because of this blah, blah, blah. And the other guy was like, oh yeah, I know exactly what you mean. I'd never heard the term before, and I can't think of it, and I tried to Google it. And so, yeah, I just want to know if anybody, any of you guys, especially you snooker guys, know what that term is, so I can, get some sleep tonight maybe. It's when you hit the taper where the shaft starts expanding, whether it's right at the very beginning or 20 inches back or 24 inches back or wherever it is, when you hit that, then your tip is no longer going in a straightforward line anymore. It is going to deviate upwards, it's going to deviate up and to the left, it's going to deviate up and to the right. This is just what's going to happen. The only way you can prevent that from happening is have such a death grip on your shaft that you can't make it past where that taper starts. And that gets a little bit awkward. I guess maybe you could shoot like this, which, guess what, that's probably pretty awkward too. Or you have a really long taper. This is one of the things about, back in the day, they would sell the pro tapers with that was, a regular bridge, let's call that 10 inches again. But if your bridge is a little bit longer than 10 inches, depending on the shot and stuff, then you're going to hit that taper right before you hit the cue ball. And that means your tip's going to be diverted upwards or this way. Something's going to happen. Whereas here, with the cue ball closer, you're just fine. But as soon as you hit that taper, you're not just fine anymore unless you allow for it. And this term that I'm trying to find was, I think it was about allowing for it, not just make sure your bridge, the bottom of your bridge is perfectly vertical. I think it was more like, well, this is going to change something, and so you have to be aware of it. I don't know how snooker cues are tapered. I don't own one. I don't think I've ever hit a ball with one. But that's what the term was, and I've been trying to find it. If any of you guys know what that term is or have any ideas, throw it down in the comments. I really, really appreciate it, because then I'll know it, and then I'll be able to get some sleep. Thanks, man. Bye.